We are live. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? How you guys feeling? It's a brilliant Saturday, isn't it? This feels incredible. Overall, still on a high from last night, no doubt about it. 100% has to be one of just the most impressive performances we put in all season. I know the scoreline obviously reflects that, and the player ratings that I'm about to give are going to reflect that too. But overall, I think it was just a really solid performance from top to bottom. I get that when you start slow and the second half's better, that might affect the ratings, obviously, and the vibes and the overall thoughts. But I'm literally coming off the back of that game really happy. Like, the issue with the Friday night kickoff is that it starts your weekend, and if your team don't do very well, it's very easy for it to affect your weekend and for you to not know how to react. And you have to watch all these other football games going forward, and you're sort of watching with trepidation. Whereas now, we're not watching with as much trepidation. We're watching with hope that other teams will screw up, rather than going, "Oh God, if they win now, the points gap is 5 or whatever." The worst we can do is be the exact same as where we were, which I know isn't that great, obviously, but it's still better than we dropped points against Wolves, and now we really need to be looking, but not behind, in front of us, and we can now, look at Spurs as behind us, and they've got a really difficult game. They've got to go to Stadium of Light, which is by no means an easy feat. So I think that's going to be a fun one. But before we get into the player ratings, please do drop a like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I am doing a live stream. It was an unannounced live stream, so if there is no interaction, that's absolutely fine. If you guys are watching this on delay, please get in the comments down below, because I will reply to you. And yeah, let's just get into it. Obviously, I'm not going to be in the Wolves team, by the way. I'm not going to be that mean. Also, I have no performances to compare them to. So it would be wrong for me to do so as a West Ham fan, to be like, "Oh yeah, Wolves were terrible," and all this sort of stuff, because really they weren't. There's a few players I actually quite a high ratings to. But for West Ham, we'll start in goal. Mads Hermansen, for me, solid 8. Just, it wasn't really troubled, but the times he did look like he could be troubled, he made some pivotal saves. I remember there's one that bounced, I think, off Chuff, and he put his hands up. That was really good. The free kick for Angel Gomez, he saved really well, and he kept a clean sheet. Yes, he wasn't, desperately troubled, and he didn't, need to do much, but he was commanding in his box. He seemed confident. Distribution was fine. Solid 8 for me. Nothing more, nothing less. I do think, isn't it his something like his 7th clean sheet? I have this written down. It's a really impressive record he's got now in the sticks of West Ham United. And considering when we signed him, a lot of people, he had that really rough start. Like, we're talking seriously rough. So for him to go from that to getting these clean sheets to being consistent, you got to respect it. It's his 6th clean sheet of the season. And has Areola got one? And this is not Areola hate, by the way. I'm a big Areola defender, actually. I think we got 2 really good goalkeepers, and I'd be happy to keep both of them. So, I think overall that is it's a solid start for Hermansen on an 8. Next up is going to be, I'm going to go from right to left. I don't know whether that's frustrating for some people. I don't, But I'm going to go with Kyle Walker-Peters. I'm going to give him an 8 again. I think he's really solid. I think he's still kept his place in that defence. I don't see why we drop him. I don't know what Wan-Bissaka can do now for the rest of the season to get in, unless Walker-Peters drops a stinker in a game. Because I know they offer different things. I think that obviously that's important to know, is that they do offer different things. But Walker-Peters is doing all right going forward. I think what we get with Wan-Bissaka is you get those incredible challenges and those great tackles, which, by the way, are not lost on me how brilliant they are and how useful they are. But Walker-Peters, you get calm, you get collected, you get 100% effort up and down the pitch. I think there's sometimes with Wan-Bissaka where he doesn't track back as fast as you'd like him to. Whereas with Walker-Peters, he was up the pitch, he was down the pitch, he was everywhere. He almost, remember when he was on the edge of the box, he almost set up Tati, I think, lovely and beautiful. That was almost stunning, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately, for Kyle. Well, I'm going to give him an 8 anyway, because again, we didn't concede, and he was really solid. So overall, I think an 8 is fair enough. Maybe a bit high, maybe a 7.5, but I think overall there's nothing to complain about in this game. He just didn't do anything too spectacular in terms of getting the higher numbers. Konstantinos Mavropanos, I'm giving him a 10. I don't care. This is my first player ratings. This might be a little bit, what's the word? Might be a little bit, hyperbole potentially, or hyperbolic. It would be the correct term. But I think Mavropanos was superb against Wolves. I just think, defensively was a rock. Offensively was, was dangerous. I remember I'm listening to Jared Bowen in his post-match interview on Sky, and he was very much saying that Mav apparently had some bad hips or something. So for him to do that little scissor kick, I thought was fantastic. That man's riding in confidence. Genuinely, let's keep him. Let's get him on a new deal. I did a video about Mavropanos, by the way, on the channel, so you guys want to go check that out, about his little redemption arc, please do. It was probably about a week ago now, I think. But yeah, go check out the Mavropanos video, because it kind of sums up all my thoughts about him. But this game exuded that. I thought he was brilliant. I think overall was just insane. Malkster in the chat. Hi, still buzzing Conyines. Yes, mate. Absolutely the same for me. It's one of those things where you just can't write it. It's even to the point where on this lazy Saturday I've whacked out the West Ham t-shirt, and I rarely wear football t-shirts like for the day. I'll sometimes use them at night, but I whacked it out today. I just thought, yeah, screw it. Who was your man of the match? If you're still watching, Malkster, let me know. But for me, Mavropanos 10 out of 10, and is the man of the match. I know it's a bit, what's the word? It's a little bit of a spoiler this quickly, but I think it was obvious to you guys, right, that it was only going to be one man, and that was Konstantinos Mavropanos. But there are some contenders, though. Left back, WHUWOL, I'm going to give another 8. I think similar performance to Walker Peters. Did some really nice crosses offensively. Did some really great defensive work. He was the player in the first half the most that was getting us up the pitch. His confidence levels now, compared to where he was when he first started, is insane. I'm really proud of WHUWOL. I think, again, we've got these project players that we probably needed when we did the big summer window. We got all these players in who, weren't Premier League proven, or, young, or you were in relegation zones. It wasn't the right call in hindsight, because it took them until about now to kind of get to that level where they're proper Premier League players. You're talking about your Fernandes, your Juffs, and your Hermans, and now all three of them, I would say, in terms of form, are three of the best players in their positions in the league. I don't know how many other goalkeepers have got 5 clean sheets in their last 11 appearances or whatever it is. I don't. So for me, Juff gets a 8. I just realised I missed Axel Disasi, which is very bad of me. So Axel Disasi, I'm going to give a 7. I think he was solid, fine, but didn't do much for me. But that is kind of a standard centre-back performance, I guess. What more are you expecting from a centre-back? A quite dead game for a centre-back is a solid game for a centre-back. And actually, what I would say is, I think it, kind of puts more emphasis on what Wolves did, or how little they did, compared to what Disasi did. I think they're two very different things. Malkster said he personally got Jared Bowen 2.5 assists, and the way his shot almost smacked the post. Yeah, mate, I tell you what, Bowen should have got the 3rd assist, man. I understand why in the rules it wouldn't be given and stuff like that. I don't really do FPL. I can imagine if you're on FPL, you'd probably be a bit fuming. That one got taken away from you. Bowen, fair enough. I did go and give it Mavropanos, but yeah, I just find it funny. I don't know whether you guys watch this who are watching, that Bowen said he's in his own fantasy team on FPL. I've never really got into it myself. I'm one of those people that always gets excited to do it for the first week and sort of like pick my team, and then I just forget to update it. So who knows? Maybe one day, if the channel gets big enough, we'll do it. We'll do it. Alex Ryan's league. Don't kill it. But yeah, no, Bowen's fantastic. The back line, solid all round. I think I gave Disasi the lowest score of a 7, but it's just because he had literally nothing to do. He just showed up for work, was solid, compact, did his job. Next up, though, we have the big Czech, Somas Souček. For me, an 8. Again, something similar to Disasi, but what I will say is he's always that presence in the box. I think when we're doing corners and any kind of set piece, really, I think he just allows us to, he takes so much pressure off other players because they have to focus on Souček. They can't just let him run, because if they let him run, the box will get a header off and he'll score. What I will say as well is he did some really good tackles in this game, Souček, which is something that I wouldn't really say is part of his game that much, in the sense of how the tackles were. What's the word? It's such how the tackles were committed. Like normally you'd see him do the sweeping challenge on the edge of the box to keep the ball up, but he was doing some really nice, smart tactical challenges. So fair play to Thomas Souček. I've got to be honest, I'm really happy with that performance. For him, an 8 again. No moments to really talk about, but he was just there. He's a fox in the box. Solid effort for me. Mateus Fernandes 7. I think he was actually weaker than Souček in this one. I'm a big Fernandes fan, as you guys all know, but I just think he gave away a yellow. It wasn't a silly yellow like Tati's was, but I think overall he just didn't do much, which again is fine when you're 4-0. Not everyone's going to have those moments. That's not what football's about. It's a team game. And I think that was the emphasis of that, is that if Fernandes gets a 7 today, he was absolutely acceptable. He didn't do anything wrong really at all. I just think he was slightly weaker than Souček, which I might be misremembering because FootMob has Fernandes on 7.2. But I think they're both brilliant. I just think that Souček kind of was more involved in our goals, shall I say. Now we're getting to the interesting front four, and I'll go with Crescencio Somerville first. Getting a lot of flack has old Crescencio Somerville, and I don't really understand it. He's not been playing for a month. He's had an injury. I think you could tell. But I also think, although his end product wasn't brilliant, it wasn't as bad as it used to be when he had zero confidence. Let's quash that theory. But I do think it wasn't as good as we used to. But the way he snatched balls in the middle of the park was stunning. The amount of times that Somerville would just get on the end of a ball that the Wolves player already had, he picked it up. It was great. And he got us at the pitch. He had the pace. He had the confidence to run at the defenders. He just couldn't get his shot off. And even then, a couple of his shots were just saved by Jose Sarr, who I think overall saved a few really good shots in that game. It just happened that 2 of those, I think, were Somerville's. So I'd give him a 7. I think he's fine. Not his best game. Certainly not his worst. Just one of those games where we won't really remember anything about it, which is, again, fine when you've got other players doing incredible things. Like Jared Bowen, who I'm going to give a 9. It would have been a 10 if he got his... I love Jared. As you can see, Malkster gave him man of the match, which I think is fair enough. But for me, I think his work rate was superb. I'm really beginning to like Jared Bowen as captain now. I don't know whether that's just me. I think he's beginning to get into the role. And that was always going to happen. There was going to be teething issues unless we signed the out-and-out captain. That our captain has to just learn to be better. But that's not going to happen instantly. It's not going to happen immediately. I think overall, Jared Bowen, the restart game, really good with the assists. Like Max said, 2.5 assists, should have been 3. Just got a little touch off the shoulder of a Wolves player. And unfortunately, that just means there's no dice there. But I'm really happy with Jared Bowen. I think it was great. I think it was a great performance. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9. Next up, Pablo, the man who gets the most hate on the internet, and I understand it, but I love this man. He almost got his goal, and he deserved to. It was a great save by Jose Sarr. As people said, this shot was a bit weak, but the angle was against him. He's a young lad, Pablo. We have to remember that he's young. It's a new league to him, new country, new language, new everything. And you can tell him and Tati have a really close relationship and close bond, and you can tell they're helping each other out. You tell that with the goals. I would give Pablo an 8 today. Actually, I think that might be overdoing it, but I think he was actually really good. And that flick was a bit of confidence that we've not seen from him. I do think he'll get his goal this season. And again, we did pay a lot of money for him from Wolverhampton. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It might be Jill. But I'm really just impressed with his overall work ethic, and he tries his heart out. Like, it's different to when we had Fulkrug on the pitch and he would just stand there. And to me, as long as you're trying, you're going to get a good rating anyway. Especially in a relegation scrap. If you were like 12th, maybe I'd be like, this isn't working, why don't we try somebody else? But for me, Pablo was decent enough. 8 out of 10. That flick is generational. Happy with it. Tati Castellanos, I want to give him a 10, I do, but I've got to give him a 9 because that yellow card he gave on the edge of the box was a bit silly. Tati Castellanos That is his 5th goal now, I believe. I said it could be 5 or 6 yesterday. I believe it is actually confirmed to be his 5th. Really impressed with Tati. You know, what a man. What an absolute hero. Legend of the game. Tati Castellanos. Yeah, really happy. It's 2 goals, you know, they're not going to be like the cleanest strikes in the world, but I don't think he'll care. I don't think we care. He's just really good, and he gives his heart out, you know. I think he's one of those players where now we should get the value for money for which we paid, and we're seeing that. Malkster coming in the chat saying he's not 100% on Bowen as captain. After recent was saying Mav as captain, but that's what whoever wears the armband. Do you know what? I get it. I do. I think the thing is, Malk, is, I don't know why I'm giving you a shortened name there, so Malkster, is I think you get a lot of off the pitch stuff from Bowen that we don't see. I think we get a lot of, you know, who is the one player that has the most heart for West Ham? I think it's Jared Bowen. And I'd actually say Thomas Souček. I just think Thomas Souček's too nice to be captain. I don't see him, you know, getting the ref's face too much. Mav as captain, I'm for it. I just think we need to give Bowen more time because it's a role that is alien to it. Maybe it was wrong to give him in the first place, but I think now we're beginning to see the rewards of Bowen as captain, and I think we're beginning to see the rewards, and we're going to see that the pressure lift off his shoulders. I think with Nuno coming in as well and sort of actually managing the team, unlike Graham Potter, who sort of just didn't do anything by the sounds of it. Nobody liked Graham Potter in the club. I mean, I was a fan. That was wrong of me, but yeah, overall, just I think Bowen as captain would be a good one. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to turn out to be good if he stays. If he stays out, he stays. He could go down as well great as captains. That's a big could, by the way. That is a big could, but I just think that might happen. So yeah, Tati, I'm going to give a 9. Just that yellow card, but outside of that, perfect performance for me. Just overall, really, really solid performance. And now I'm going to the bench. I don't know if I should give anyone a rating, really. Freddie Potter, Devo Traore sort of had the most to do, but they don't really do much. So I'd probably give everyone that came off of the bench a 6, because no one made a mistake, but nobody really impacted the game. You know, just a proper performance. So overall, that's my ratings. My man of the match is Mavropanos. But more importantly, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you're watching this on delay, and I will reply to you. Please do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It does mean a lot. I'll see you guys all later. Take it easy. And bye-bye.